2 weeks passed. Everlight no longer looked like a future settlement. It looked like a town, not a city, not yet. But something real, something alive. Construction drones filled the skies from dawn until dusk. Workers moved through the streets. Supply shuttles arrived daily. Children from Unity ran through the unfinished roads while settlers argued over shop locations and housing plots. The first schools were under construction. The first medical center was operational. The first farms had already begun producing food. Even the roads now carried traffic. People, families, dreamers, citizens. The world was beginning. And everyone could feel it. The biggest change had come from Mira. After the incident with the heartvine, she had immediately ordered several dozen root keepers to be relocated from Unity. The environmental teams had initially questioned the decision. Then one of the root keepers neutralized another dangerous plant species within hours of arrival. The objections vanished. Now small groups of silver-furred root keepers wandered freely throughout the settlement. The settlers adored them. Children fed them. Workers named them. The local environmental office had already begun creating protected root keeper zones. Meatball had somehow become their unofficial king. Nobody understood how. Nobody questioned it. Unfortunately. Not everything was thriving. Pines looked terrible. The change had happened quickly, far quicker than Aurora expected. The old Reaper's skin had lost color. The deep bronze complexion he'd carried most of his life looked faded now. His movements had slowed, the coughs had become more frequent, and he seemed tired all the time. Not sleepy. Tired, the kind that sat behind the eyes, the kind that never left. Aurora had noticed first, then Ellie, then Plum, then Mira. Now nobody could ignore it. The 4 girls sat together outside one evening overlooking the settlement. The sun was setting, golden light washed over Everlight. Below them, the town buzzed with life, but none of them were watching it. Plum broke first. Okay, nobody replied. She folded her arms. He's sick. Silence. Ellie sighed. Yeah. Mira looked toward the distant buildings. How long? All eyes turned toward Aurora. The young champion stared into the distance, then quietly answered. A few weeks. That got their attention. Plum blinked. You knew? Aurora nodded. I suspected. What? The blood. The others froze. Aurora looked down. He was coughing blood. The silence became heavier. When? A couple weeks ago. Mira's face dropped. Aurora sighed. I asked him, and he said it was an old injury. Nobody believed that. Not now. Not anymore. Plum rubbed her face. We need to talk to him. Aurora nodded. Yeah, nobody argued. They found Pines exactly where they expected, in bed. For once, not training, not walking, not teaching, not helping, resting. The sight alone made Aurora uncomfortable. Pines wasn't a resting sort of person. The old Reaper looked up as the girls entered, immediately suspicious. Oh no. Plum pointed. Don't oh no us. Pines sighed dramatically. Intervention? Intervention. The old man groaned. Aurora smiled slightly despite herself. They gathered around the bed. Nobody was angry, nobody was accusing. Just worried. Pines noticed immediately. The joking expression softened. Girls. Ellie folded her arms. How sick are you? Pines blinked. That's direct. Answer. The old Reaper looked at all of them, one by one. Then sighed. The sigh itself sounded exhausted. A little, nobody looked convinced. Pines smiled. All right. Another sigh, a little more than a little. Plum immediately looked upset. Mira looked terrified. Aurora remained quiet, watching. Pines held up a hand. Relax, Uncle Pines, I'm serious. His voice remained calm, gentle. Think it's just a nasty flu. Nobody spoke. The old Reaper shrugged. I'm old. Plum frowned. You're always old. Exactly. He pointed, which means it hits harder. Ellie narrowed her eyes. A flu? Yep. Coughing blood? Pines shrugged. Everlight flu. The girls stared. The old Reaper grinned. Made that part up. Despite themselves, they laughed. Even Aurora. Pines took advantage immediately. I'll probably get worse before I get better, he continued casually. Few days in bed, bit miserable, complained dramatically, demand soup, normal sick person stuff. Mira visibly relaxed. Aurora did too. Maybe because she wanted to. Maybe because she needed to. The explanation fit. Mostly. And Pines sounded confident. Certain. Like somebody who knew exactly what was wrong. Eventually the mood softened. The girls stopped pressing. Pines leaned back into his pillow. There, he smiled. Now stop worrying. Then pointed toward the window. You've got a celebration to attend. Aurora blinked. What? The town celebration? Plum gasped. Oh shit. The old Reaper laughed. Exactly, you all deserve a night off. Mira looked uncertain. We can stay. Pines immediately pointed at the door. Out. The girls laughed. Aurora smiled. The old Reaper smiled back. Go have fun. And eventually, they did. The town celebration filled half the settlement. Music echoed through the streets. Food stalls lined the roads. Settlers danced beneath strings of glowing lights. Children ran around with root keepers. Workers toasted one another. The atmosphere felt warm, safe, home. For the first time, Everlight didn't feel like a project. It felt like a community. The girls were treated like heroes. People thanked them, bought them drinks, asked for photos, shared stories. By the second hour, Plum was dancing with 3 construction workers. Ellie had somehow become trapped in a conversation about bridge engineering. Mira was being celebrated by environmental teams for the Root Keeper program. Aurora found herself smiling, actually smiling, maybe for the first time all week. Then somebody approached. Champion Reach? She turned. The man standing there looked roughly her age, dark hair, warm smile, work clothes, nothing fancy, nothing royal, nothing intimidating, just normal. He scratched the back of his neck, immediately awkward. Sorry. Aurora smiled. For what? For interrupting. She laughed softly. You're doing a terrible job. That got a grin. My name's Rowan. He extended a hand. Rowan Soul. Aurora shook it. Aurora, I know. Fair. They both laughed. The conversation flowed naturally. Easy. Comfortable. He told her he worked in water infrastructure. She told him she barely understood half of what that meant. He claimed most engineers didn't either. She laughed again. And then, something happened. Not externally. Internally. A smile, a memory, a laugh, a pair of rocket boots, strong arms holding her as they flew above the city, a goofy grin looking down at her, a kiss outside the tower. Kale. The memory hit like a punch. Aurora froze. Rowan noticed immediately. You all right? Aurora blinked. The celebration suddenly felt distant. The music, the lights, the people. All distant. She swallowed, forced a smile. Yeah. Rowan looked unconvinced. Aurora took a breath. Actually. She smiled awkwardly. I think I'm going to head home. His face dropped slightly. Not offended. Just disappointed. Aurora immediately felt bad. Hey, Rowan looked up. She smiled. I'll see you around. The disappointment faded. Yeah? Aurora nodded. Yeah. The smile returned, small, genuine. Okay. Aurora waved, then left. The girls caught up to her minutes later, all slightly drunk, especially Plum. The walk home began peacefully, until Plum finally cracked. So... Aurora groaned immediately. No. Plum pointed dramatically. Who's the new guy? Ellie immediately became interested. Mira smirked. Aurora sighed. Rowan Soul. Plum grinned. Ooh. Aurora rolled her eyes. He works in water systems. Oh no. What? He's hot and useful. Aurora laughed despite herself. Then the laughter faded. The girls noticed. The mood shifted. Aurora looked down, then quietly spoke. I couldn't do it. Nobody interrupted. She continued. He was nice. A pause. Genuinely nice. Another pause. And all I could think about was Kale. Silence. Aurora swallowed hard. I kept seeing him. The smile, the flying, the stupid jokes. Her voice cracked. The way he looked at me. Tears formed. I trusted him. Nobody spoke. Aurora continued. Almost rambling now. I couldn't stop thinking about it. What if it happens again? What if I'm wrong again? What if I can't tell? Tears rolled freely. What if I never can? Mira stepped forward, immediately, wrapped her arms around Aurora. The champion froze, then broke, completely. The tears came hard, heavy, years of pressure, months of burying it. Everything. Mira held her tightly. Aurora, the champion cried into her shoulder. Mira gently lifted her chin. Stop. Aurora blinked. What? Stop explaining yourself. Silence. Mira smiled sadly. You're experiencing PTSD. Aurora stared. The words landed heavily. You survived 4 years of people trying to kill you. Mira continued softly. The man you loved betrayed you. You nearly died. You watched people die. You lost friends. You carried worlds. A tear rolled down Mira's cheek. You're allowed to be hurt. The others gathered around them. Plum. Ellie. All close. All family. Mira squeezed Aurora's hand. This isn't the Eclipse, Aurora cried quietly. Mira smiled. You have to trust. Aurora looked away. What if I can't? Mira immediately answered. You trusted me. The words hit hard. Aurora froze. Mira smiled. I was a stranger once. The champion laughed through tears, a tiny laugh, but real. Mira hugged her again. Outside the Eclipse, she smiled. Trust is the one thing you have to give before you receive it. Nobody spoke. They simply stood together, under the stars, holding one another, helping Aurora carry a burden she'd never had time to unpack. Eventually the tears stopped. Eventually the breathing steadied. Eventually the walk resumed. And later that night, for the first time in a very long time, all four girls slept peacefully, unaware that upstairs, while the settlement celebrated its future. Pines stared silently into the darkness and listened to the ticking clock he knew was running out.